Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, it's so cropped. Oh,
It's
geez.
cropped? Yeah, you're gonna have to sit back more to be able to see.
How are you?
I'm good.
How's everything been going in France?
Well, we're a bit slow at the moment. I just passed a terrible week being a bit ill at home, but I'm better now, which is good.
I'm so
Um,
I'm glad you're
well, yeah, I've literally spent a week doing nothing. Last week, I was away. I had Sam and Chefna Collective, which was really nice. But it's good to be back. And how are you? How's it going? You're at the exhibition space.
I'm here.
Well,
Well,
congratulations.
thank you. It's been super surreal, to be honest with you. I've kind of been like walking on clouds last week. Sorry, my phone keeps going dark. Yeah, I've been walking on last week, so it's like the most bizarre thing.
How does it make you feel like to be just in like a physical space again? I guess because things have been off for so long and like an opening. You had an opening last week, no? No?
No,
Okay.
kind of super happy about it. I think like for the first show it would have been maybe a little bit overwhelming, but especially after COVID, how does one behave? A group of more than two people.
Mm.
I was talking to someone today and we were saying how like we don't really know how to control the volume of our voices anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Just the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. But how does it work in terms of because you're at Vogue Curations at the moment, right? So the show is online as well as you can book slots if you want to visit physically.
Yeah, so we're doing it kind of both ways, which is great. I kind of hope that that's how shows will be in the future anyway, just in terms of accessibility.
Yeah.
But at the moment, people can come in, book like a 30-minute slot. And luckily, we have these two exhibitions going on in the building at the same time. So you pop up, you pop down, you get like a little bit of both. And they're two supremely different works, which makes it all the better. Um, yeah, no, it's really nice to be honest. And like you get one-on-one time with people.
Yeah. So
I
it's like a private show for I guess for anyone who turns up
yeah,
with the artist, you know.
imagine. I hope it doesn't make anyone uncomfortable, but to be
I'm
honest,
sure they love it.
it's a lot of fun. Like you get to talk, you get to laugh. It's I think a lot better and a lot more. I don't know if intimate's the right word. Is intimate a weird word after COVID?
No, but like I get what you mean. Like you get to be more personal. Like it's not just a show and you don't know who the artists are, but you're there and you're there physically talking to them, and I think it's a good thing, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and how does it work in terms of controlling like the volume and stuff? Like
so
each person gets half an hour.
yeah, each person gets half an hour. There's a limited amount of people that can come in, and then we have protocols and things like that. And luckily, the space is pretty big, so we can keep distances, whether that's for COVID or not. Whether it's
Nice. Well, some people like distancing.
yeah, we got to ease ourselves back into it, so might as well take advantage of the space.
Yeah. How does it make you feel like this week in London? Like I've only seen videos of people going a bit crazy.
Wild. I haven't actually been going out all that much, but the gallery and my studio are both near Oxford Street. So we're in Mayfair, and I have to get out of Oxford Circus to come here and walk through Regent Street, and it's chaos.
It's a bit of a scary experience, no? It's like, oh my God, I'm not ready.
Completely. No, I'm not ready. Was I ever ready? It's bizarre. Like the tube is actually busy again. On Monday, the queues outside of shops. To be honest, today I walked past Brandy Melville, and there was like 200 teenagers.
Yeah, it's yeah, like it's like this. Wow. So we're gonna go back to the very beginning and introduce you properly as an artist. So tell us a little bit more about your maybe your background and how And when did you, you know, get into painting, and, you know, how did you start? What are your main inspirations, references? If you...
Let's think. Okay, I guess I have to start at the beginning, because my work is so entrenched in who I am. I think all of it has to do with the self. My own background personally is I was born in London. Both of my parents are from Iran. My mom grew up here, and we had kind of a whole life of moving around. Every 2 years we'd switch countries, and we were mostly in the global south. Um, and that was mad. That was
I
crazy.
can imagine.
Like it definitely shaped who I am, but also how I perceive art and the world and all that jazz. Um, I always painted. I always drew and painted, and I think it was one of the things I think helped to keep me sane. But also, as like an only child, there's certain things that you got to do.
But do you feel like it's, you know, almost like your little getaway, like you're, you know, you dipping into your own world, kind of, you know, being with your paint, with your imagination?
100%. That you end up in this sort of cave is the wrong word. It's a word I use a lot, weirdly enough. But you end up in this just like quietness. And even if there's Netflix or music or whatever, but just being in that zone is super soothing. Everything else calms down. But so I moved around a lot and I was always painting. And then for my BA, I was like, screw this. I'm going to do international stuff and politics, right?
Wow.
Completely different world, and it was amazing. So I was in The Hague, and we were just like near the Peace Palace and the International Court of Justice. Just it was a phenomenal experience, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. And I think probably in another life I would have been working on, I think, just child rights and women's rights.
You never know, it could be simultaneous.
One day, one day.
One day.
I don't know if I'm serious enough at the moment. But then kind of afterwards I realized, screw this, I want to paint. And so I did. And then I did my master's. We did Persian miniature. And it was after like years and years of learning to oil paint and working with oil paint. And as incredible as it is, and I think kind of the practice of learning to paint was extremely helpful. It's learning to paint in Persian miniature and Indian miniature was so familiar, and it felt so honest and real and true to myself. And it felt like the only medium that made sense to tell stories. Anything before that was almost kind of want to say an imitation. It was using someone else's material, someone else's method, and just didn't quite click until I started this. And so now I'm
Was
here.
there like a turning point that you were just experimenting and then you were like, oh wait, like I realized this is me, and this is what, you know, I really enjoy the most?
I want to say it kind of happened accidentally. So I applied for my master's, which was like traditional arts and focus on Persian and Indian miniature painting. And doing this after my bachelor's, I was like, this is going to be academic and kind of do a little bit of everything. It wasn't. It was completely practical, and it was just like biggest
Intensive training.
um, so I started, and the moment I put like brush to paper, it came so naturally. It came so naturally. And as much as I love oil painting and I'll do it on the side and like my little fruits and bowls and people, I think my primary medium is this now for the time being. Yeah, definitely.
And you mix most of the pigments yourself. I read you have, you know, well, it's a bit of a mix, I think, and you choose your paper very carefully as well. How does that, like, where did you get influence from, and how did you pick your like pigments?
Um, it's kind of a multifaceted thing. On one side, you look at tradition. I think if I'm going to be honest to tradition and pay homage to tradition, those methods and those materials are super important. They're integral to the process. Um, but beyond that, I think kind of taking that ecological perspective is also really important. The art industry is really like so much mass production. There's so much waste. And it's something that even I had never really thought about. Kind of the way that you learn is like make 100 different, make a mess, throw paint, use this, use that, without really thinking about where these things came from, where they're going to go afterwards. Um, and it was just bizarre to me. I think it took me like I don't know how many years to figure out like acrylic is just straight plastic, or
I didn't know until now.
it's plastic.
Well, we're painting with plastic. Great.
It's okay. Part of it, but it's just not part of my practice. And I really enjoy kind of having that connection with the material as well. So be that with the paper that kind of, you know, you have to source it and it comes slow and it's made by family and it's got this very like soft touch to it. To pigments, you have more control as well. Now when I try to go to tubed paints, it feels so bizarre and it feels so unnatural. And I think just like you can't control the quality of it. So yeah, that's a big thing.
And where do you go to pick these paints? Like, so what's the sort of process like to be able to source it from the very beginning, like the very original state of it?
It's kind of I think for maybe half paints, it working from stone, from plant, from insect. So that means a lot of, let's say, paint foraging. But we collected a lot in Iran with my dad, which was really nice. And it was a good excuse to travel around a little bit more as well. And the other half kind of come from different sources. Some bits come from London, some bits come from Florence, but they're all people who've been making these pigments for a long time, and they're all completely natural. Yeah, it's really good.
It must be such an interesting experience for you as well. It's like, you know, sourcing the raw material. You're not just painting, but you actually saw through the every stage of your artwork.
Yeah, you get to, and you also get to kind of like live longer. The artwork almost has a longer, I don't want to say like before it reaches this point where it's a work and you don't touch it anymore. You have to go through all these different stages to get to that point, and you end up with having like this relationship with your painting.
So it's a longer process in the, how do you say, like contradicting to like the fast production, the mass production. You actually, you know, you're there from the very beginning.
It becomes your companion for a little bit, you know, especially if there are things where I might spend 4 months, 5 months on, and those ones like really letting go of them is tough because they've been living with me, and it's really they breathe, they kind of grow as I grow. They get added to, and that's good.
And so, what do you have right now? Are these all? How many works are you showing?
16 works up at the moment, which is math. Some of them are from 2020. It's basically everything I've done 2020 and 2021. So 16 works. I can take you around.
It's the COVID thing.
COVID thing. It's weird. I don't think I would have been doing this full time if it wasn't for COVID. COVID is awful, but I'm a little grateful to it.
Well, you can be you can really be there and without feeling anything else.
It's been great.
It's a perfect excuse.
Exactly. Also a nice excuse to like stay home.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. So lots of paintings here.
Yeah, it would be great if we can have a little tour if it's possible.
Okay, so there are some that have been seen on the ground, like such. And then there are other ones. So this one, it's titled Screen Time because it's kind of like touching a screen. It's the way that we've all been communicating over the past year and a bit, kind of that having that connection with people. And then Home that we've seen, some other older ones. A set almost. It's called Sitting Duck because we all felt a little bit like sitting ducks at the very start of COVID. That was an early COVID one.
Okay.
And then we have the belly button of the show, which I love very much. He's just kind of the central character. And we go through, there's quite a bit. In terms of pigments, this one's quite special. So these two are done in a very high-grade lapis, which is a semi-precious stone, really hard to find. And it came from Afghanistan, but it was used in a lot of places. I think the one that I recognize most is like Giotto Scriveni Chapel. So it's this heaven blue top sky, but I've used it here.
It's beautiful.
It's just like the most amazing blue. An ultramarine is a copy of this. It's the synthetic imitation. And now we have somebody just waiting. Her attitude, I think, is everything. And we go through those, and then that's pretty much it. That's been...
It's a nice space. It's been so long since I've seen even gallery space.
It's crazy. And even when I first walked in, oh my god, how am I gonna do this? It's so big.
How does it make you feel, like, just to exhibit your work again?
Mad. I think the first time I walked into the room after the technician had been in and put everything up, I'm dizzy. Hold me. It's the wildest thing, and still every time I walk in, it's a little surreal. Also in part because I've never seen this many of my paintings together, so I never really knew how they interacted. You need a special kind of space to have that, and to have them framed and ready. It's like a whole process that I wouldn't have done otherwise on my own. So it's worked really well.
And how long is this exhibition going to go on for?
The show is on until so a couple more weeks. Tuesdays through Saturdays, those 30-minute slots. But no, it's good. It's good. It's a good amount of time. Also, I think it stays on online for quite a bit. But the online thing, it takes a little bit of time to figure out where the pictures are. You just got to click right on that photo.
Okay, well, if anyone wants to check it out and unsure, go on Laila's page and you can find her. She'll help you.
Exactly. Just hit me up.
Well, it's a shame I won't be able to see it in person, I think. But it's so nice to see that you're showing, and I'm sure you're gonna have another one soon as well, where I can actually come and see.
I hope so. And I think it's in June or July. I'm going to be in a 2-person show, which I'm super excited about, but don't have all the details. And then in autumn, there's going to be another big one in Tehran, which is nice. I'm so excited for that one because just to be able to show work in Tehran is like a crazy thing.
Yeah. Wow. And when is that going to be?
At some point in autumn. Unknown. Completely unknown.
It's upcoming. It's on the way. Sure. And I always wanted to ask that with your work, like, because they're always very personal, and you paint with your thoughts, with your stories. Like, what's your creative process? Like, do you do sketches first? Do you have an inspiration, write it down, and then transfer it onto the paper? Like, how does it normally?
I think it's a lot of different stuff, and it really just, for the most part, I just start, and they're like kind of cartoonish. They're not the most like, rough sketches. So you have these kind of cartoonish sketches that turn into, but a lot of them kind of like they grow over time. So something will start, and then based on whatever experience I'm having, they go in. But it's also a huge amount, I think, research based. It's kind of years of collecting information and images and thoughts, and because a lot of them are so entrenched in my own background and my own sort of history, there's also a lot of, I think, childhood memories. This is super Freudian, but like there's loads of childhood stuff in there. Not Freudian in the weird way, just
like the duck.
Sort of. I mean, the duck is more like a sitting duck. It was like that vulnerability that we all had at the very start of COVID. I don't know if anyone still has, but I think a lot of us do. Now it's like a different vulnerability. It's, oh, shit, we have to enter the outdoors. What do you do?
Yeah, it's like the opposite, but like, yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I think it was earlier today, like I sent you a message and I was like, me too. I'm not ready to be out.
I think we need signs. We need like just taking my time. They have these huge ones on the tube right now that go, be considerate to others. It takes time or something like that. And I need it just on my forehead. I need it on t-shirts. Just
Yeah. I think it's normal, like to feel that way. Like I don't know, like to just, you know, seeing everyone starting to do things, and you start to feel like a bit obliged to be like, okay, shouldn't I be doing the same? But even for me, like I'm like probably the opposite of you in normal circumstances, but like I'm a little bit like nervous about just rushing into everything.
yeah, it's crazy. You are maybe one of the most social people I know. So like,
I feel like, and you know, I need more time to be self-reflecting and to be with myself and study more and not feel distracted. And I feel like that excuse is running out.
no. But I mean, what is the COVID situation in France at the moment?
In Paris, we're still like stuck in limbo, I think, at least until mid-May. I think the
Yeah.
president was talking about the steps on opening the restaurants and everything tonight. So I'm gonna look it up, but they are a bit slow, like with vaccinations and everything. So we will see. Yeah.
I saw some videos of Paris. I think it was last month, and by the sun, it was just packed, like dense.
It's a bit annoying because, you know, people have nothing else to do, and they just, when the weather is nice, they just go for outdoor space, and all the parks were like ducks. Like it was packed. It was really badly packed. You know, to some degree, I think it's even worse than having restaurants socially distanced. At least people have it like an outlet to be socialized a little bit in a safe environment and then go back to their house instead of, you know, I think eating takeaways on the street is worse than having restaurants closed.
It's true. Everyone is out. I know that like West Hampstead here has been like, I mean, I complain about this to everyone, so a lot of people are always sick of me saying it, but it's like the domestic tourism. Oh my, Hampstead is big. And I kind of go there and I'm like, hello, sardines, ants.
When I see groups of people, I run. Like I literally go across the road to the other side. Like
And now, I mean, ever since things opened up outside, like no one's really wearing masks outside, so I feel a little judged.
is this it's not mandatory to wear masks?
Not outside.
Oh really? Okay. Because here it's like you have to, otherwise you get told off by the police.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be told off by friends. I'm good. I'd wear my mask to sleep. I'm good.
Maybe get some fresh air at some point.
Fair enough.
But it is weird. I remember last year when I took the train to London, and when I arrived, I was so used to having my mask on all the time. And I saw people like walking around without them on, and I was like, oh my God, like this is weird. It feels so strange. Yeah.
It's honestly like being in a different world. But right now, I think we're in this like, it feels super hopeful, to be honest. Like everyone outside on Monday, I got out of the tube and it felt like the first day of school. Everyone was positive and out, and it was just like, it's this really hopeful moment. And so I really hope that it stays and it continues.
Yeah. Well, UK is doing pretty well with the vaccination. I think it's over 60 or 70%.
Yeah.
Right. So probably, yeah. Well, it's good that I think people needed that positivity, the energy, because it's been just going on for so long, and it's hard without something to look forward to. Like
Yeah.
no one knows what's gonna happen.
No. But fingers crossed. I mean, we're in a super lucky situation in comparison to a lot of places.
Yeah. Yes, well, I hope I hope I can visit London soon. Next month. I keep saying next month, but maybe next month.
Whenever, the moment the Eurostar starts functioning, we expect you
Well,
back.
it works now. It's just, you have to do like the 10 days self-isolation. You have to like pay extra for the tests, and it's just a lot of hassle to to do traveling.
Do you have any, I mean, obviously not, like it's hard, right? You can't have any idea of when
Oh,
things,
sorry, you were cutting off of.
you can't have a real idea of when you'll be able to come here with more comfort.
Uh, well, hopefully, Charlotte was saying maybe next month. So hopefully next month,
Sure.
mid-May, because I think if France opens up, I think the rules and regulations would be also a bit better by then. So
I
yeah,
really hope so. I really
hope so too. Yeah,
hope so.
yeah. I think last time I saw you in person it was last summer.
Oh,
Unless we had no.
no, it was last summer. It's actually ridiculous. I also feel like I lost, I think maybe everyone's in this situation, but just losing grasp of time.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to someone the other day and we were talking about like, I think it was just like university. And I was speaking as though I'm still there. That was 2 years ago that I finished my master's. And I'm acting like I'm going back to school tomorrow. I'll be there
Yeah, where did the 2 years go? Honestly, like I was going to mention, I when I went to Mallorca to visit Clau at Casa Balandra, it was more than 1 year ago, and to me it feels mad.
I don't know. I hope they come by soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
hopefully. Well, thank you so much, Laila. It's been a really, really, really big pleasure to talk to you, and congratulations again on the exhibition. Everyone who has just joined, please go visit Laila's page and go visit her exhibition in person. You get to talk to her as well. It's amazing. It's an experience. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions, please send over.
Thank you for having me, Elaine. See
Thank
you.
you. Have a nice evening.